It's one of my favorite spots of the week. National College Football Insider Michael Felder is with us from Learfield, from Stadium, and as he slugs himself, college football, cooking, and complaining. And we'll have plenty of that during this spot. All right, I know you pointed out in your newsletter, it's Felder up on Substack. It was a week of first in many places around the country. And I think where we start is where we've been starting a lot. Colorado, first loss, but maybe it's the first indication with Oregon that they're going to go next level on defense.
Yeah, that's the thing that really stood out to me. We knew Colorado was going to be small up front. We knew Colorado was going to struggle. We knew Colorado was going to have some issues. I didn't know how good Oregon could be on defense. I really had genuine questions about it, and that was a really eye-opening experience to see this team come out there, take care of business on defense. Like, you could talk about the pre and post game, the arguing between the coaches and the one guy this, one guy that. But the reality for me is that was a group of young men that played really hard football on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to be a tough out, and I think that's a really good thing for the Pac-12 because for so long people keep saying they don't play defense, they don't play defense. But realistically, right now we're looking at the league that has the best quarterbacks, the league that all of a sudden we are starting to see some defense out of Oregon. We already know Utah's going to bring the defense with them. So I think it's going to continue to be a big push for what this league looks like down the line.
You have Oregon and Washington as the best two teams?
Yeah, I think so. I think Washington, here's the thing. I think Washington is the best offense in the country, period. No caveat, not just the Pac-12, but in the country. So we got to see them bring it a little bit more defensively. But yeah, I think those are two best teams. Obviously, USC has to get thrown in there somewhere. You got to show some respect to the champions, Utah. But certainly they've got a solid top. They've got a solid top, 4? And then you can also throw, I know they just lost, but you can throw Oregon State, Washington State in there as well, which is another intriguing thing. And by the way, we still haven't mentioned Colorado, who, listen, unless you play defense like Oregon, you're not going to stop them. This weekend, they play USC. What is this game going to look like?
You tell me. What do you think?
I think Colorado can win this football game.
Really?
Yeah. Why can't they win this game? That's the question. Why can't they win this game? Tell me why you think they can't win this game.
I don't think they play enough defense, and I don't think they have the big fatties up front in a rotation to hold USC under 50. Now, can they score 50-plus on USC? I mean, if they can, that's pretty damning on the defense that they've tried to build at USC over the last 2 years.
Yeah, and I think that defense is really bad. This is not me propping up Colorado. This is me saying USC's defense is very, very bad. They are very bad, and I don't think this is a game that why can't Colorado win? This is a game where they're going to have to play USC's going to have to stop somebody because Colorado's not going to stop themselves. They do as we watch them play over the course of this season, whether it was TCU or it was Nebraska. Somebody's going to have to stop them, and that's the part that I don't know if USC can, which is why I think it's a winnable game for Colorado.
Michael Felder on Cofield Company, ESPN Las Vegas. You go sign up for his Substack at itsfelder at substack.com. Let's stick with the Pac-12 for a Friday tilt. Yep. I do wonder how Oregon State bounces back. It's not a devastating loss. We joked about it last week, the Pac-2 title game. They lose to Wazoo. Utah is absolutely going, if they don't win the Pac-12 or finish with 2 losses in conference, they're going to be a tough out every freaking game.
Yeah, every game. And this is going to be hard. It's really hard. Once you get into the meat of this league, there's not a lot of separation, right? Obviously USC has Caleb Williams, and then we still haven't seen Cam Rising. So what does that even look like? And Washington State goes out and they beat Oregon State. By the way, we didn't even mention them at the top when we were talking about Cam Ward, the kid from Incarnate Word. He's an absolute beast as well. They've got a lot of really good quarterbacks. DJ is no slouch either. So they're playing Utah. It's a Friday night game. It starts at 9, which is Utah in the Mountain Time Zone? I have no clue because Vegas is in the Pacific Time Zone.
Correct.
But Utah's right there.
Yeah.
They're in the Mountain Time Zone, or they're in the Pacific?
They're in the Mountain Time Zone. Yeah, they're a little bit to the east. And last week, strangely enough, I was in El Paso, and they're the other edge of the Mountain Time Zone. That was screwing me up because I figured they were central.
Yeah, I'm terrible at this. It's one of those things that just happens. But yeah, Utah, maybe we see some Cam Rising this week. But this is going to be these games are all going to be really good. And obviously it starts on Friday night with this one.
Let's go to the Big Ten with Michael Felder. What do we know about Michigan And Nebraska, Michigan again laying a healthy number. It's the smallest number they've laid all year at -17. Maybe this is more in line with who they are. I have a feeling they can go in and smash Nebraska. What do you think?
They're a better football team than Nebraska. Absolutely. They have a stronger line play. They have stronger line play than Nebraska. Absolutely. I'm so tired of this Michigan football team. Truly, like the thing that when I'm watching football, I want teams to be as good as they can be, as good as they possibly can be. And if this is as good as Michigan can possibly be, they're not that good. And we saw it. And I said it when doing the show for Learfield College Sports Now last week. Check it out. Last Friday, before the game, myself, Alex Kirshner, and Stephen Hartzell, I said, hey man, I think this is a 30, 35, maybe even a 40-minute football game where Rutgers is going to be within a score. And what happened? That's exactly what happened. They were within a score the entire for 3 quarters, basically. They were in a football game. And Michigan did not push the ball down the field. Michigan didn't seem to try to push the ball down the field. Michigan didn't want to try. Everything with Michigan, they do everything the hard way. And if you do everything the hard way, that's fine. But at the end of the day, your wide receivers, when you need them, will not be able to step up. Your quarterback, when you need him, will not be able to push the ball down the field. We saw it happen last year, right, against TCU in the semifinal. Oh no, we're gonna have to score 40 points. Oh no, how what? This isn't how we play. And if you don't practice it, and I'm a big believer in this. This is why I like Lane Kiffin so much. And I know they got smashed this past weekend by Alabama, but Lane Kiffin, he practices what he's going to need in big games. And Michigan's not practicing what they're going to need in a big game. And by practicing, I don't mean practicing in practice. I mean doing it in games that you're supposed to win anyways.
Yep.
Like they're not doing it. They're literally just sitting on their hands for an entire football game, knowing that their sides can win out.
Yeah, I think they made a mistake in the first 4 games, including this Rutgers game, by not throwing it around the yard more. They have an identity. They want to run the ball, but you can win either way. And I really think they should have gotten up to speed with 35 passes a game and tried to destroy people. So I think that may be a mistake. I have to get an update from you on what is very intriguing. You're a Renaissance man, as we mentioned many times. Michael Felder's up on Cofield Company. You had a movie night, and it looks like you're developing something pretty special here with Felder's Snack Shack.
Yes, so Snack Shack started in the summertime when my little kids' friends were coming over. We had a shelf in the downstairs storage area where it just has snacks, and we were using pails instead of bags. I got a bunch of little pails that were like party favors or something, and it's easy because I can put those in the dishwasher instead of just throwing stuff away. So shout out, reducing my carbon footprint. But at the end of the day, we moved Snack Shack into the bar area where I have a popcorn machine. Yes. It was one of the stipulations that when my wife wouldn't let me get a popcorn machine in Chicago, she said, if we move back to Charlotte, you can get a popcorn machine. So I have a popcorn machine. I have my own personal popcorn blend, which is the big yellow kernels in these small Amish white tender kernels. I've got those. It's like a 2-to-1 yellow to white, but those are all in there. Get that in the popcorn machine. I use, the classic movie theater butter flavoring, and then I also use the Flavacol. Flavacol is what they use at the movie theater. That's what makes it taste so good. I knocked that out. I've got a projector. I got a screen. We throw that up. We put blankets down on the ground. The kids hang out and have blankets. The parents can hang back and have some drinks. But it's really cool. So we're going to probably do another one in the next few weeks. And yeah, movie night. It's super fun. You throw on. We watch Madagascar. We might just run the whole Madagascar series, right, for the kids. So it's been very cool.
It's impressive. And there's a lot to live up to in the Felder existence, and you don't want to embarrass yourself. Now, speaking of embarrassing themselves, I want you to tell me if either one of these guys did this, because in the end, they kind of got really mad at old guys. Did you think that Ryan Day was out of line? Did you think that Jake Dickert, the Washington State coach, was out of line? Dickert went after Corso, and obviously Dr. Lou got Ryan Day all worked up.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. You're the head coach of a major program. Like, who cares? And both of you guys just won. Like, somebody didn't pick you to win. Somebody didn't believe in you. So what, man? Believe in you. That's where I am with, Deion's like, hey, man, you ain't make me, so you can't break me. Like, these guys are getting broken down by guys whose job it is to talk about football. Like, this is not a big deal. And one guy's 100 years old. Like, what are we doing? Like, they're both guys.
Yes.
Both guys are 100 years old. Like, who cares? Like, did they even did they watch the whole games? Did they? I have no clue. So it's one of those things that just for me is just like, man, come on, dude. Just you. They both won. You won, and this is the thing you want to talk about. Come on.
I really believe in something called the dream killer. Teams that believe they have a chance to make the Final Four, win a national title, an outside chance. When they lose, there's an emotional adrenaline dump. And Notre Dame does not have any time for a dump. They can't have a letdown here. Duke is dangerous. This is a dangerous spot on the road.
I'm so glad you brought that game up because Duke is very good. Riley Leonard, we talked about the Pac-12 and their quarterbacks. In the ACC, I mean, you have Drake May, obviously. You have Jordan Travis as well. And I think Riley Leonard is probably up there as the number 2, number 3 quarterback in the league. He is super talented. This guy can move. I mean, the thing we don't think about, things people don't think about, I know folks don't watch a lot of Duke football. What they don't realize is this man can run. Like, Riley Leonard has got wheels. He can run. He is not afraid to put his foot in the ground and go get it. So, I mean, you look at him, he's their second leading rusher. Guy's already ran for 238 yards. He should top 1,000 yards passing in this football game if he has a good game. So he can get the job done. And when Riley Leonard runs, and I think people underestimate him, they don't think he can do it. But when he decides to run, there's a lot of grass out there, and he goes and takes advantage of it.
The dream is not completely dead for Clemson, but disappointing times right now, and they actually have a tricky spot. They're about a touchdown favorite, but they're on the road. They're playing Syracuse, and now you've got people coming out of the woodwork to say not only does Clemson appear to be a little undermanned because of Dabo, but some of his coaching moves not so hot.
Dabo's never been purported to be a great coach. Nobody's ever thought he was a great coach. He's a great motivator. He's a great program. He built that program from the Tommy Bowden era to what it is now. Yeah, he did that. Nobody's ever thought, man, this guy's super smart and a really good coach. No one's ever thought that about him. We've thought he's a very good recruiter. He can sell your mom. He can sell your mom all day because he's going to make you go to church on Sundays. And like moms love that stuff. But at the end of the day, he's not a great coach. So him making mistakes, it was covered up in the last, what are we going to call it? The last 8, 9, 10, last decade, basically. It was covered up because he had really good players. There's not a person on that Clemson roster right now that's a lie. That's not true. There are 2 people on that roster right now that are going to be first-round draft picks. They're both linebackers. There is not a person on that offensive side of the football that I expect to be a first-round pick right now, and that's just a fact. They got 2 linebackers in Barrett Carter and Jeremiah Trotter. Both of those guys are really good, but Carter Barrett, these kids' names are just killing me. Thanks to the portal, but no, they've got 2 linebackers that are probably going to be first round picks. That's it. That's what they have. Like they don't remember what these defensive lines used to look like. Grady Jarrett, Christian Wilkins, like these dudes were monsters. Even Clelin Ferrell was a monster in college. He's had a rough time in the NFL, but certainly was a monster in college. And they don't have that right now. They don't have Sammy Watkins or Nuke Hopkins or Mike Williams. Like they don't have those guys. They don't have CJ Spiller. They don't have Wayne Gallman and Andre Ellington, and they don't have those guys. Will Shipley is a good football player. Will Shipley is not like he's not going to be a first-round draft pick, I don't think. He's going to be someone that we see go on day 2, sure. But Will Shipley, and he's doing all the work for them, everything. Watching him when he puts that one finger up in the air, it's because he's tired. He is exhausted. This guy returns kicks. He does some punt work. He runs the ball for them. He does pat. I watched this man, Will Shipley. I watched this man walk up to the line of scrimmage, tap the center, call the protection for the team, while the quarterback just kind of stood next to him. He called the protection for the team and then dropped back to make sure he got his block. Like this guy's doing everything for them.
Michael Felder's with us. Sign up for his newsletter. It's Felder at Substack.com. Real quickly on the last 2 points here. One, Auburn had it handed to him against Texas A&M, and now they got to bounce right back at home against Georgia coming into town.
Yeah, this is going to be a rough one for Auburn. Not going the way that folks thought when they decided to compromise the Auburn quote-unquote values and hire Hugh Freeze. So this is going to be really interesting to see how this shakes itself out. Georgia, I do want to see Georgia, just like I talked about with Michigan. Listen, I'm an equal opportunity offender here. I want to see Georgia stretch it out too. I want to see them push the ball. I know Carson Beck feels like a safe choice, but I want to see them push the ball down the field. Show me the weapons, what they look like.
Last one, give you a little West Coast feel and Mountain West feel. It's starting to look like a two-team race in the Mountain West with Air Force, very efficient, and then Fresno's really, really good. Air Force is hosting San Diego State, and I watched a lot of San Diego State and Boise last week. And boy, Brady Hoke has had some good years. He went 12-2 in a year, but beyond that, he's 4-4, 7-6, 2-3.
Yep.
They just don't have a lot of offensive talent. And I'll give you the worst thing. They're a boring football team in a city that you better entertain or people don't show up. And the last couple of home games, they have a brand new 35, 40,000 seat stadium. No one goes to the games. That's going to be his real issue if he has a year where he goes like 3-5 or worse in the Mountain West.
Well, here's the thing. Let's start out with San Diego State, right? Because this is a team that they've lost 3 in a row. And they beat that Ohio team, and it's so hard for them. Everything is so hard for them. And like it's 34-31. They lost to Oregon State the week before. They could have, if they could have just got more points. And I know that's like a very cliche thing to say, but what I'm saying is everything is so hard. And I love Jalen Maiden. I love the Maiden family. His brother that went to Alabama, I interviewed him when I was at Bleacher Report. I watched both of these kids kind of grow up. I watched him when he was pushing to get into the Elite 11. And so I like Jalen Maiden. I like him a lot. They've got to find a way to, one, protect him because he is running for his life. It is wild to watch this guy. He's just hey man, please, please keep these guys off of me so I can throw the football to anyone. And they don't have any wide receivers that make you excited. So that's the other part of it. You mentioned Air Force. Obviously, there's nothing to be said about them. They're just super good. I will rather spend the last couple little seconds we have on Fresno State. I love them. They are one of my favorite teams. I love Jeff Tedford. I'm a Ted head. This guy, I watched him. I was at the Elite 11. I watched Tedford teach quarterbacks about cover 2 and cover 3. And this man, I'm sitting back there as a defensive guy oh, no, they got you if they do this. They got you if you do this. And he's like, you make them wrong even when they're right. And he just goes through all these little coaching points. And his quarterbacks, they absorb it. This guy he's a quarterback whisperer. He's amazing. I love what he does. He's doing with Mikey Keene. These guys are he did it with Jake Hayner, where these guys are okay, I know they're plugged in. They don't need a running back to call protections. They're setting their protections, and then they look pre-snap. They have an idea, but they don't make a decision. And that's something that I hate about college football right now. Too many guys make decisions before the play even starts. So if you rock and roll on them as a safety or a safety combo, all of a sudden the picture changes. They've already made their mind up, and now all of a sudden they're throwing interceptions. These guys don't make their mind up till the play starts, and then they're looking and pointing. They're like, okay, so this safety's moving out here. We've got cover 6 because this safety's here. This guy's here. Okay, we've got cover 2. We've got this. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I know where I have to put the ball. I know when this guy's going to come open. And the other part, those wide receivers, the way they run their routes, very beautiful. They're all tempoed. They're not just coming off running full speed. It's like a brisk jog. And then when they're supposed to come open, now we get that sprint. And the DB is kind of all screwed up. And now the guy's open in that space. Bang, let's hit him and keep moving the ball down the field.
Michael Felder from Stadium in Learfield. I'll mention one last thing. And you mentioned I don't know if you did, but I'll mention it. Former defensive backs. You really know defense at North Carolina where you played. I'll mention one thing. I'll correct myself. Boise State is still very much alive because I believe they have a top 10 running back, and I might go as far as top 5. Ashton Genty out of North Florida against San Diego State was ridiculous. I was having thoughts of Ray Rice, kind of that same size, 5'8", 5'9", real thick. I mean, always bounces off the first tackle attempt, and then he still got the speed to freaking break away. So snitch for everyone out there. Watch this kid. He is good. Yeah,
Boise State had a really rough go. Here's the thing. Rough go of it, right? Come 0-2 out of the gate. Here's the thing. None of those games matter when it comes to winning the Mountain West. None of them matter at all. So at the end of the day, they're still, if you look at the standings, they're still right there. They're 1-0. No problem. The Washington game, the UCF game, they don't matter. We have a season that is all about winning our league. That's all we have to worry about. And then we can, when the dust settles, if we take care of our business, if we go undefeated through this league, guess what? We got an opportunity to go to that New Year's 6 game.
Mike, great spot. Have a good weekend and make some more of that popcorn.
Oh, will do, man. You take it easy.